How you feeling? And at Saturday we saw you kind of run around in pregame and everything. Could there have been a chance where you could have played on Saturday?
There could have been a slight chance, but just in preparation for the coming weeks, this week, it probably best that I didn't play. But my foot's feeling better. Each and every single day. I'm doing a bunch of rehab, a bunch of running on it, and it's just trying to make sure that I'm at a good point physically, to I can make a full return and really feel good on it.
And how close do you feel like you are at this point?
I feel like I'm pretty close. I did a lot of stuff today, in practice, and it felt good. So it's definitely been a good recovery, and it still got a little ways to go, but I'm definitely getting there, and I'm feeling good about it.
Luke, with the situation being the way it is, I mean, how do you kind of view it? I know you're very supportive of your teammates, but I'm sure deep down you have that competitor in you.
Yeah.
How do you view the situation, especially with the way that Zeb performed the other night?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Coach Beamer says all the time, competition is a core value, and that's something that we, as especially quarterbacks, we value. So like today, everybody was getting reps. Everybody was in there, calling plays, doing what we do. And we had a lot of fun doing it. We supported each other, and we got after it together. So competition is like I said, something we strive to do every single day. So it's definitely been a lot of fun, especially having Zeb out there, as well as Jason, Connor, Colton, Jake, all those other guys.
Luke, you kind of touched on it, but in terms of like this week and getting your foot healthy, what is it do you feel like you need to be able to do in order to go out there and play Saturday?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like, the next 3-4 days?
Yeah, just feel confident in running again, and I definitely think I've got that confidence back, in just the things that I do, during practice, outside of practice, taking care of my body, not only my foot, but everything else as well, shoulder, legs, all that good stuff. So that plays a big part in it. But definitely being able to run at 100%, that's definitely something that I want to feel confident in. And it's like I said, it's getting better every single day. So,
Luke, a couple of questions. One, how tough is it when you have to face a guy like Jordan Birch on defense and he's coming at you? I know you guys don't get touched in practice, but
yeah.
How tough is that?
It's not only him, but I mean that entire defensive line with JJ, Jabari, Aaron. I mean those guys are amazing, and I think they prepare us for what we see, or what we're going to see going into really the heart of our schedule once we get into the SEC play, the region play. Those are some of the best guys in the league, and they've done well for us so far, especially on Saturday pitching a shutout. That was huge for us. And we couldn't be more proud of those guys, and happy to have them on our side rather than across from us. So,
and also I'm sure you saw him, hit the top gear running that pick six back. If it ever came to chance where you could get that guy on offense, how fun would that be?
We'd have a lot of fun with it. I know he played a little bit of tight end and running back for Coach Kimry whenever he was at Hammond. So it'd be pretty fun to have him out there.
Luke, from your vantage point on the sideline this past Saturday, how would you rate how Zeb did? What about what he did this past weekend impressed you?
I thought he did awesome, man. Just watching the way he goes out there and executes, and just he does everything that he's asked to do, and he does it at 110%. And that's something that me personally, I look up to him. He's an awesome guy. He's been around for a long time. He's played a lot of football, so he's an awesome guy to talk to about not only ball but just about life, life in general. But just watching the way that he went out there and did everything he could to move the ball down the field, command the offense, and really just put drives together, and being himself. I know he talked about that. Whenever he was up here, but that's something that I admire about him is just the way that he goes out there and just does what he has to do and executes.
Obviously, we got to see throwing during warm-ups on Saturday night. How much had you been able to do to that point of just throwing on there to your receivers?
I mean, I'd been throwing since the injury really first happened. I was able to, even though I was on a scooter, I was still able to get some balls up in the air and be able to do all those things. So now it's really just improving on drop speed and working around in the pocket. That's something that I've been working on, especially today during practice. Just getting back out there in full pads and getting a feel for the game again.
Was today kind of your first day being able to do some of those things in practice, or had you been doing?
I had been doing some stuff. I'd been done a little bit of stuff last week, but definitely not as much as I did today. But like I said, still got a little ways to go. But I'm working my tail off to be at 100% for Saturday.
Luke, what are some things that, I mean, have you been able to do everything, or are there still some things that you want to be able to do better and that you're still being limited because of the foot?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, just the running part of it, just getting a feeling back, for not necessarily how to run, but just feeling more comfortable with it, because I was in a boot for a little while and it got a little stiff. So just getting a feel for that again and being able to move around and navigate the pocket and not think about it so much. That's something that I definitely want to again feel confident in. So when I do get back out there, I don't have to think about it. I can just go out there and play.
Hey, Luke, Saturday was the first day we were able to see Coach Satterfield's offense in action, and looked like, a lot of creativity, Jaheim Bell and just DK at quarterback, all the different moves. What is it like learning an offense like that with all those moving parts? Does that add kind of a degree of difficulty? And what is it like playing in that kind of offense too, when you have that kind of creativity?
I think when you have that kind of creativity, it makes it a lot of fun. I don't think in my opinion, I don't think there's too much difficulty to it, especially when you're able to just go out there and not think about much, but go out there, do your job, and execute. And the way that he puts his, he designs plays and, works around the guys that we do have and the athletes that we have, and just being able to get all of them involved and stuff. That was, awesome to see, and it's definitely awesome to be a part of. And he's done a wonderful job. He was awesome out there today at practice. Just in the way that he communicates and the way that he gets everybody going, gets them juiced up. That's something that he's always brought to the table, and I know he's going to continue to do so. So we're excited to continue to move forward, and we're definitely going to have a lot of other good stuff for you. So.
Luke, I know you just mentioned that you were throwing pretty much right when this all started, and I'm sure every day kind of varied. So I'm not asking you to give us a timeline exactly, but what were some of those days like? As when you got out of that boot, when you were trying to get running, and what was that rehab process like these last couple of weeks for you?
Yeah, it was a lot of. It started out with a lot of walking, just getting the feeling for it again. Like I said, it was a little stiff coming out of the boot, obviously. Hadn't moved it in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So that's kind of where it started, and just strengthening the little tiny muscles and getting balance and coordination back, in the left foot that, I kind of lost once everything happened. So that's something I'm continuing to work on. I felt great out there today running around and, getting reps in practice. So, like I said, I still got a little ways to go, but I'm definitely expecting to be 100% on Saturday.